Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to unlock one of the most useful phrases in the entire Japanese language, how to ask for and give permission. Seriously, by the end of this, you're going to feel so much more confident navigating all kinds of situations in Japan.
Just imagine this for a second. You're in a beautiful, quiet temple garden. You see the perfect shot, but are you allowed to take a picture? Or what if you're in a packed ramen shop and you see an empty seat? How do you ask if it's okay to sit there? These are the moments where knowing this one piece of grammar is an absolute game changer.
So, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the main phrase itself. Then, we'll get into the secret sauce, the te form formula you need to build it. After that, we'll dive into the verb conjugations, starting easy and then tackling the trickier u-verbs. And to finish, we'll do a little practice to make sure it all clicks. Ready? Let's do this. Okay, let's kick things off with section 1. Before we get into all the verb-changing stuff, let's just meet the core phrase that makes this all work. The magic phrase is te-mo-ii desu, or te-mo-ii desu. In its most basic form, this is how you give someone permission. It pretty much means you can do or it's okay if you do whatever the action is. That little te at the beginning, that's our placeholder for a verb, which we'll get to in just a minute. Now, what's awesome is how incredibly simple it is to turn this into a question. All you do is add the little question marker, ka or ka, to the end, so it becomes "something mo ii desu ka? May I?" And a simple positive answer is just "hai, ii desu yo," which is like saying, "Yep, that's fine," or "Sure, go ahead." Easy, right? All right, so we've got the second half of the phrase down pat, but how do we actually attach a verb, the action to it? Well, as we'll see in section 2, the key is something called the te form. Think of it like a simple 3-step recipe. Step 1, you grab any verb in its regular dictionary form. Step 2, and this is the most important part, you change that verb into its te form. And step 3, you just stick mol i this on the end. The whole challenge really is just getting good at step 2. So let's just dive right into that conjugation stuff. We're going to start with the easy ones, though, to get a couple of quick wins and build up some momentum. We're talking about the ru-verbs and 2 super common irregular verbs. Ver-verbs are going to be your new best friend because the rule is so simple and consistent. You just find the final ru sound, you drop it, and you add te. That's it. So taberu, to eat, becomes tabete. Miru, to see, becomes mite. So if you want to say you may eat, it's just tabete mo ii desu. See? Simple. Next up, the irregulars. And the best news is, for this grammar, there are really only 2 you gotta worry about. Suru, to do, and kuru, to come. Suru becomes shite, and kuru becomes kite. Just commit those 2 to memory, and you're pretty much done with the exceptions. Okay, deep breath. Time for section 4. This is the main event, mastering the u-verbs. Now, this group has a few more rules, I'm not gonna lie, but they are all based on clear patterns. We're just gonna walk through them one by one, so don't you worry. Our first group of u-verbs are the ones that end in the sounds u, tsu, or ru. For any of these verbs, you're gonna drop that last syllable and replace it with a little tsu and a te, which sounds like a hard stop. Te. So au, to meet, becomes atte, and matsu, to wait, becomes matte. Okay, on to our next group. Any verb that ends in mu, bu, or nu is going to change to de. Hear that de sound in there? N-D-E, de. So yomu, to read, becomes yonde, and asobu, to play, becomes asonde. So what about verbs ending in ku? The pattern here is to swap out that ku for ite. For example, kaku, to write, turns into kaite. It's a pretty clean swap, but there is one huge, massive exception to this rule that you absolutely have to know. And here it is, the verb iku, which means to go. Now, based on the rule we just learned, you'd think it would be itte, right? But nope, it's special. It actually follows the first rule we learned for u-verbs and becomes itte. This is honestly the most important exception to memorize for the te form, so really burn this one into your brain. Now let's look at verbs ending in ge. This one is like the voiced twin of the ku verbs we just saw, so it makes sense that instead of changing to ite, it changes to its voiced partner, ide. So oyogu, to swim, becomes oyoide. And for our last group, we have verbs that end in su. These are nice and simple. They just change to shite. So hanas, to speak, becomes hanashite. And that's it. That is the entire system for changing u-verbs into their te form. You did it. Let's head into our final section, where we're going to see how all these rules come together to make real sentences. It's time to put what we've learned to the test. Okay, first question for you. The verb is yomu, to read. How would you build the full sentence for you may read a magazine? Go ahead, take a second, and think about that mu ending.
And the answer is 雑誌を読んでもいいです. Perfect. The verb yomu ends in mu, so we follow the rule and change it to yonde. Awesome.
Let's try one more. The verb this time is kesu, which means to turn off. How would you say, you may turn off the light? Which pattern does that su ending follow?
You got it. It's 電気を消してもいいです. Verbs ending in su change to shite, so kesu becomes 消して. See? You've totally got this.
And here it is, all in one place. Think of this as your ultimate T-form cheat sheet. You might want to pause and take a screenshot of this one. We've got this simple rule for ru-verbs, all 5 patterns for u-verbs, that super important exception iku, and our 2 irregulars. Getting this down is a massive leap forward in your Japanese journey. So now you have the power. You can confidently ask for things, and you can give other people the green light. You can ask to take that picture, eat that snack, or meet up with a friend. But this leads to a final, really important question. What happens when the answer isn't yes? What's the best, most polite way to say no? Well, that's a great topic for another time. Thanks so much for joining me today.